We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential.
Prayers. Almighty God, who in thy wisdom and goodness has appointed the offices of rulers and parliament for the welfare of society and just government of men, we beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor us thy servants whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this land. Let thy blessings descend upon us here in this house assembled. Grant us that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner to promote the honor and glory, to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of this country and of those whose interests thou hast committed to our church. Amen. Be seated.
Correction and approval of records of votes. Communication from the chair.
Honorable members of the National Assembly, the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs, and indeed our partners, the media. I welcome you all to the fourth and final ordinary session of the Assembly in the 2022 legislative year. This session is generally called the budget session, being the busiest and lengthiest session of the National Assembly each year. Therefore, we return thanks and gratitude to Almighty Allah for enabling us to assemble once again here for this all-important session, and pray that He continues to guide us through this session and beyond. Honorable members, we will also recall that during the previous extraordinary sessions of this August Assembly in the 2022 legislative year, the under-mentioned bill was passed and assented to by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia. The act was the Gambia Public Procurement Authority Act number 05 of 2022. It was passed in the Assembly here on the 6th of October 2022 and assented to by the President of the Republic on the 1st of November 2022. Honorable members, pursuant to Section 152(1) of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia and Order 86(1) of the Standing Orders of the National Assembly, the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs shall today table the 2023 estimates of revenue and expenditure of the Republic of the Gambia for the period 1st January to 31st December 2023, both days inclusive, for the consideration and approval of this August Assembly during this ordinary session. Therefore, I urge honorable members to kindly take note of the relevant provisions of the Constitution and the standing orders for guidance during this session. I thank you all for your kind attention. Clerk, can we proceed?
Thank you. Correction and approval of the records of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Wednesday, 26 October 2022.
Can we hear your point of order, please?
The clause you have quoted under standing orders, clause 83. 83.2 says that the Vice President or the Minister shall make an electronic copy and a written copy of the statement available to members as early as possible. We have received the written copy, but we are yet to receive the electronic copy, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
I'm yet to follow you. What is missing?
The electronic copy. And it says shall make
the
an
electronic copy of what?
The electronic copy of the
draft. Of the draft estimate?
Yes, please. And it says shall, so there is no, it must be submitted electronically as well as the hard copy. Thank you.
Yeah, but does that prevent us from going ahead? It should be provided. It should be provided. It should be. It's mandatory for its provision. Honorable members, I'm just being briefed by the Office of the Clerk that the electronic copies have been given to the National Assembly. It's in our custody, and the IT department is trying to distribute it to members, honorable members. But it's in the custody of the National Assembly.
Honorable Chair, it says to members, according to our standing orders.
Honorable member, I don't know whether you were listening. I said, for your information, I'm informed that Finance has already given us the electronic copies. It's in our custody. And the IT division is working to distribute it. What I'm trying to say is, it's no more finance, it's from within the Assembly itself. Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Member of Banjul South quoted a standing order, and this is our operational tool in the National Assembly. It's mandatory, so I'm suggesting if time can be permitted, you adjourn the session until the copy is available. Suspend. Then
Honorable member.
Can you clear it to us then?
Yeah, honorable member. My understanding is that it is compulsory for its provision, for it to be provided to Assembly members. But it does not say without its provision, you cannot go ahead. So what we do know is this is a small, if there are lapses, it's a lapse within the Assembly itself. Now we are to do this, the Assembly service is providing these documents, because we are not using the documents here. We are not using, we are only listening to the speech of the Honorable, the tabling of the budget by the Honorable Minister. No other reactions.
Honorable Chair, can you look at the clause properly? It is mandatory, and it says it must be done one day, one clear day before. One clear day on which the draft budget statement is to be made. Where this has not been possible, he or she can make the statement. Okay, he has given us reason, so I think then we can proceed. But the thing is, it must be sent. No. What I'm saying, Honorable Speaker, it must be brought to the attention of this House, because the Honorable Minister will not give us a reason. Now you said that it was sent to the Assembly. Fine, then we can proceed. But we are not psychic. We wouldn't have known whether it was sent. That was why I raised the order, and it is. Honorable Speaker, it's okay, we can proceed. What I'm saying is that we did not know of the reason, that's why I brought it up. But now you've given us the reason, it's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Clerk, can we continue? Can we start again?
Correction and approval of the records of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Wednesday, 26 October 2022.
Honorable members, the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sittings of Wednesday, 26 October 2022 is before us for correction and approval. Can any honorable member please move that the said record of votes and proceedings be considered and approved? Honorable member for Jara West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to move for the records of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sittings of Wednesday, 26 October 2022 to be considered and approved. Thank you.
Any seconder, honorable members? Kiang Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion.
Honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Wednesday, 26 October 2022 be considered. Any observations or corrections, honorable members? The floor will be open. I think we all have copies of the said record of votes and proceedings. As usual, we will deal with it page by page, beginning with page 1. Any comments, observations, honorable members, on page 1? Honorable members, we now move to page 2. Honorable members, we now move to page 3. Members, if you look at number 4 on page 3, motion standing order 61-2, the last sentence before questions put and accordingly agreed to, you have Honorable Alaji Babu Sise, member for Sabak Sanjal. Have you seen it? Seconded the motion, not second the motion. Sabak Sanjal, huh? Pardon? Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Sabak Sanjal, the L. Honorable members, we now move to page 4. Honorable members, we now move to page 5.
Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Yes, debate continued. Number 19, page 5. Honorable Suleiman Jammeh, it's not from Jarol.
Where?
Debate continued, page 5. Number 19, Suleiman.
Number 19?
Yes.
Suleiman Jammeh, Foni Jarol. Okay.
Yes. It's Bundung Kakunda.
Thank you very much. You effect that correction. Suleiman Jammeh is Bundung Kakunda consequently. Pardon?
It should be Tumani Sane.
Already appeared.
Twice, 15 and 19.
15?
Page 4. And 19, page 5.
So it means the one on 19
maybe it should be Honorable Tumani.
Should be deleted.
I don't know whether he
should be removed.
Suleiman should be removed, yeah.
No, yeah. I think he attended the debate.
The one 19. It should be Al-Mami.
No, Honorable Tumani.
Tumani.
Yes.
Who?
Instead of Suleiman.
It should be who?
Tumanding Sane. Is it Tumanding or Tumani Sane?
No.
No, it's Tumanding Sane.
Stand number 19, instead of Honorable Suleiman Jammeh, it should be Honorable Tumani Sane or Foni Jarol.
Honorable Speaker, point to note, it should be Kerr Tumandi's son, not Tumandi alone. Tumandi's son.
Honorable members, Honorable Kerr Tumani's son. Honorable Minority Leader.
The first sentence, Honorable Member for Banjul South, chose to leave from the assembly.
CHOSE. Honorable members, any more corrections or observations? That's the end. Is there somebody talking? Banjul South.
Adjournment at 53 minutes after 2 o'clock in the evening. Was it 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the evening? Adjournment at the bottom.
After 53 minutes after 2 o'clock in the evening, in the afternoon. That is in the afternoon. You are right. 2 o'clock in the afternoon instead of evening. Honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Wednesday, 26 October 2022 be approved with amendments. Those in favor, please say aye. Not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Clerk, can we proceed?
Motion. Section 1521 of the 1997 Constitution and Standing Orders 86-1, laying of the draft 2023 estimates of revenue and expenditure of the Republic of the Gambia, 1st January to 31st December 2023, both dates inclusive, by the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs.
Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker and Honorable members of the National Assembly, senior government official here in present, the media fraternity, all other protocols duly and respectively observed. I would like to submit for consideration and approval by the National Assembly the estimates of revenue, recurrent and development expenditures for the Republic of the Gambia for the fiscal year 2023. Honorable Speaker, the legal basis for today's event, that is the tabling of the 2023 budget estimates before the National Assembly, is anchored on the 1997 Constitution and the Public Finance Act of 2014. Section 152/1 of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia places an obligation on His Excellency the President of the Republic to instruct the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs to prepare and submit to the National Assembly at least 30 days before the end of each fiscal year the estimates of revenue and expenditures of the Gambia for the following year. Furthermore, Section 21/1 of the Public Finance Act equally requires the Minister to lay before the National Assembly the appropriation bill at least 30 days before the end of the financial year. In so doing, Section 24 of the same Act specifies the content of the appropriation bill documents. Consequently, these relevant documents are now incorporated in the 2023 estimates of revenue and expenditure being presented to this August Assembly. Still, reflecting on the legal requirements for this national budgeting process, Section 152/1A of the Constitution similarly requires the National Assembly within a maximum period of 14 days after receiving the estimates of revenue and expenditure to consider and approve the estimates. It is also worthy to note that in the light of the foregoing, the Public Finance Act provides under Section 27(1) thereof for the National Assembly to appoint temporarily or permanently a corps of technical staff to assist in gathering information, making research and analysis on issues pertinent to its deliberations and resolutions on the budgets submitted by the Minister of Finance. Honorable Speaker, the 2023 budget estimate has been prepared based on the objectives of continued recovery and building an inclusive and resilient economy. To this end, the draft estimate is anchored on the renewed commitment to strengthen domestic resource mobilization to support the provision of quality essential services in agriculture, education, health, infrastructure development to promote a more inclusive and resilient growth. This new direction of the government development policy will support recovery in the light of the adverse impact of the Russia-Ukraine war and the lingering effect of COVID-19 pandemic. The macroeconomic framework underpinning the draft estimates is anchored on recovery in agriculture, sustained growth in construction services, and a broadly positive outlook for the tourism sector. The 2023 budget is prepared with minimal new revenue measures in order to give respite to the private sector following the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic and the devastating impact of the Russia-Ukraine war that affected businesses across the country. However, more emphasis on improving compliance in tax administration to ensure that what is lawfully due to government is collected and on time. The intention is to maximize efficiency in revenue collection by the commissioning of a web-based real-time ASCUDA wall and the ongoing update of the GAM TaxNet and the preparation for the deployment of an integrated tax administrative system, iTax. It is against this backdrop that the 2023 budget is designed to effectively respond and serve as both a mitigating and adaptation tool, with emphasis on strengthening our resilience towards the current adverse effects of the global economy. This is also expected to consolidate our gains achieved in recovering from the post-pandemic era. Honorable Speaker, the Russia-Ukraine war has negatively impacted the growth prospect, resulting in rising global commodity prices, falling remittances in the international tax revenue, and increase in financing pressures. As these difficult circumstances unfold, the government revised the 2022 approved budget in July to reflect the shocks in the macroeconomic conditions during the year. Preliminary data estimates real GDP growth for 2022 at 4.5%. This is an expansion from a base rate of 4.3 in 2021, when recovery from the pandemic was underway. This relatively better performance is as a result of the anticipated increase in agricultural output and a projected growth in both the industry and service sectors of 6.9 and 4% respectively. On the downside, the outlook in the growth will depend on the continued impact of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which could severely dampen growth prospects. On the sector-specific growth outlook, agriculture is projected to continue on the growth path of reaching 6.6% in 2023, primarily supported by crop production and fishing and aquaculture. The growth prospects for the industrial sector is estimated to increase to 6.9% in 2023, up from 6% in 2022, mainly supported by electricity and mining and quarrying activities. On the services sector, recovery in tourism, transportation and storage, finance and insurance will enhance growth, with the sector growth projected to reach 4% in 2023 and 2.4% in 2022. Honorable Speaker, on the monetary policy, the inflationary pressure and the expectations have risen. This is fueled by the surging food and energy prices, coupled with other risk factors such as currency depreciation, adjustment in transport fares, and pump prices. Headline inflation has reached 13.3% in September, up from 11.7% in June 2022 and 8.2% a year ago. In the medium term, the inflation pressure will continue to increase. This is as a result of the global inflationary pressures. However, in the medium term, inflationary pressures are expected to ease and return to long-run trend by the next year in response to tightening of the monetary policy stand of the Central Bank of the Gambia and the easing of the global supply chains. The Central Bank increased the policy rate to 12% in September, up from 10% at the beginning of the year. Honorable Speaker, on the fiscal front, revenue has registered a low outturn. This is mostly as a result of grant disbursement of only 30% of the projected yearly outturn of $13.6 billion. The projected disbursement of budget support grants from the European Union and the African Development Bank of 23 and 7 million did not materialize. Furthermore, the increase in global oil prices leading to fuel subsidies to the tune of 1.3 billion as of end of September also contributed to the low revenue outturn. The outturn for revenue and grants is projected to reach 29.9 billion by the end of the 2022 year. However, as at September, actual outturn for revenue and grants stood at 14.4 billion, respectively, representing only 14% of the projected outturn. The projected annual outturn for tax revenue is 12.65 billion, and the first 9 months of the year, actual outturn recorded is 8.2 billion, representing 56% of the current projected outturn for the fiscal year. This lower than anticipated outturn is primarily due to revenue shortfalls relating to drop in the international trade taxes for both oil and non-oil imports. On the non-tax revenue, performance for the first 3 quarters of 2022 registered 2.2 billion against a year-end projection of 3.9 billion, representing 60% of the projected outturn for the year. Total outturn for the expenditure and net lending is projected to reach 30.65 billion against the revised budget of 31.06 billion. In comparative terms, the end-year projection is forecasted at 412 million below the revised budget. This is mostly as a result of lower performance of domestic revenue collection and translate to tighter budgetary control. On the debt service, the year-end projection of 3.48 billion will overshoot the revised budget by 442 million, and this is mainly relating to the increase in the domestic and external debt service due to the appreciation of the US dollars and the increasing cost of domestic debt. Personnel costs as at year-end is estimated to be 386 billion below the revised budget of 5.75 billion compared to a projected outturn of 5.36 billion. The prudent and close monitoring and rationalization of expenses in the light of lower than expected performance of the revenue contributed to the realization of these savings. Honorable Speaker, on the external front, the balance of payment continued to deteriorate and being under pressure on the account of the ongoing global shocks. Imports of goods increased by 12.9% in the first half of 2022, mainly reflecting an increase in the imports of energy, food items, and vehicles. Similarly, exports increased by 23% in the first half of 2022. The deterioration in the trade balance resulted in a higher current account deficit of 1.3% of the GDP in the first half of 2022, relative to a deficit of 0.5% of GDP in the corresponding period of 2021. Honorable Speaker, despite the significant impact of the Russia-Ukraine war, with the disruption in the global supply chain, coupled with the lingering effects of the COVID-19, has produced on our development trajectory, it is an opportunity for self-reflection and utilization of our unique means to build a resilient economy and resilient partnerships, while interlacing all of these with an adaptive planning model that is agile and also responsive to exogenous shocks, uncertainties, and fragile multilateral systems. While striving for equilibrium and avoiding dislocation within our fiscal space, the 2023 budget aims to stimulate economic recovery through practical and tangible support to all sectors of the economy. The budget also reaffirms our national commitment to leave no one behind by enhancing our social protection response programs in collaboration with the development partners. As earlier mentioned, the 2023 budget will place emphasis on social service delivery. This will include additional expenditure in priority areas such as education and health, and for that, drugs and medical supplies for our hospitals across the country, vaccine for the infants, and the rehabilitation of major health centers across the country. The largest allocation of the recurrent expenditure is to the education sector, followed by the health sector. This is necessary to build and sustain the human capital of the country. In what could be viewed as a reformist and a practical demonstration of innovative programming, government will in 2023 budget take bold steps to build capacities of the rural communities, particularly through the Program for Accelerated Community Development, PACD, and sustain infrastructural development. Implementation through local councils, PACD, aims to improve access to basic social services for rural populations through establishment of socio-economic infrastructures, whilst also promoting the involvement of all local sectors in the economy and social development of their localities. And this is one of the flagship projects of His Excellency the President. Infrastructure development, in particular, road infrastructure, is also featured meaningfully in the 2023 budget. It is expected to finance ongoing and newly proposed rural roads, which include the Kiang West Roads, Nyomi Hakalan Road, Kiang West Phase 2, and a host of other rural projects to be financed through the 2023 budget from the government local funds coffers. The contribution of the foreign financing of development projects is expected to increase in the fiscal year 2023 as the Gambia hosts the OIC Summit. This includes the upgrading and expansion of the Baltin-Harding Highway with additional construction of 50 kilometers of open roads. Honorable Speaker, the proposed fiscal operation for 2023. Total revenue and grants for 2023 is projected to reach 31.48 billion, which represents a growth of 18% over the 2022 figure of 26.59. The increment is mainly attributed to estimated increase in tax revenue, budget support grants, non-tax revenues. Project grants is estimated to reach 11.83 billion compared to 9.66 billion in 2022, whereas non-tax revenue is projected to be at 2.97 compared to 2.2 in 2022. Meanwhile, tax revenue is also projected to marginally increase by 1.5% to 13.92 compared to 13.66 in 2022. The 2023 budget will factor budget support to the tune of 2.77 billion from our development partners compared to 1.07 billion in 2022. The bulk of the support is expected to come from the World Bank, $20 million, European Union, $13 million, AFD, Agence Française de Développement, $2 billion, and the African Development Bank, $7 million, respectively. Honorable Speaker, spending, expenditures and financing. Total expenditure and net lending are projected to increase by 13.5%, rising from 31.18 billion in 2022 to 35.41 billion in 2023. The increase is mainly driven by increases in other expenditures, which are projected to increase by 3.77 billion in 2023, or 13% growth. Personnel emolument expenditures, which are part of other expenditures, are projected to increase from 5.75 billion in 2022 to 6.14 billion in 2022. This increase is as a result of the assumption of the payment of hardship allowances for teachers in lower basic schools. Previously, this assistance was paid for by the World Bank, but the World Bank project is coming to an end and government will take up the tabs. Payment of allowances to election officers for the upcoming local government elections, personnel costs for the National Assembly, as well as the yearly increments based on promotions. Meanwhile, other current expenditures is projected to increase to 13.27 billion in 2023, representing a 25% increase compared to 2022. This increase is mainly stimulated by the projected expenditure on subventions to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and the health sector. Capital expenditure is expected to increase slightly by 6% to 12.7 billion in 2023, mainly as a result of the suppression of expenditure on roads in the 2022 fiscal year. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I would like to invite reflections on the fact that the crafting of this 2023 budget is being done under very unusual and difficult socio-economic circumstances. premise on our current challenges, we can expect 2023 to require further fiscal discipline. However, the 2023 also provides opportunities for innovation in all aspects of our national economy and for leveraging the potentials of digitalization to transform our businesses and restructure sectors to make them more resilient. Our intention is to place our energies in the pursuit of local solutions to our economic challenges, achieve greater value addition, establish sustainable domestic value chains, and diversify local production base and expand our nascent export base. Honorable Speaker, the fiscal year 2023 promises to be transformational as the global economic outlook is increasingly uncertain. It will be challenging, and despite the gloomy clouds associated with the Russia-Ukraine war, our 2023 national budget can place us on a path to becoming a highly resilient and productive economy. To this end, and in pursuance to this noble national development agenda, that I therefore submit the estimates of revenues, recurrent and development expenditures for the fiscal year 2023 for consideration and approval by the National Assembly. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, any seconder? Honorable member for Kantora.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I rise to second the motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the 2023 estimates of revenue and expenditure of the Government of the Gambia for the period 1st January to 31st December 2023, both days inclusive. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Thank you. Honorable members, the estimates of revenue and expenditure is an important document. It sets out the macroeconomic variables of the country in relation to revenue and expenditure of the Gambia and the programs it intends to execute to improve the conditions of the lives of the citizens for the year under review. The document therefore requires our thorough scrutiny and consideration. Cognizant of this reality and of the provisions of Order 86.6a and b of the standing orders, the sitting will be adjourned to give members adequate time to review the document. Honorable members, as per the approved agenda of this ordinary session, the Assembly Business Committee, the Assembly Business Committee has scheduled Wednesday 23rd and Thursday 24th November 2022 for consideration and debate proper on the 2023 estimates, while the Committee of Supply will commence on Friday the 25th and Saturday the 26th of November 2022. Before putting the question, I want to announce for the general information of members that the pre-budget training retreat is scheduled for the period today 14th to 16th November 2022 at the Ocean Bay Hotel in Cape Point, Bakau. Accordingly, all honorable members are urged to immediately proceed to the hotel as the retreat commences immediately. The Office of the Clerk has sourced the services of various experts and technicians on budget analysis and training to help honorable members in their scrutiny role on the budget. Therefore, honorable members, it is important that we all attend this important retreat to enable us thoroughly scrutinize and digest this very important document. Honorable members, on that note, I now put the question. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned till Wednesday, 23rd November 2022. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, the Assembly now stands adjourned till Wednesday, 23rd November 2022 at 10 a.m. prompt. Thank you.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Assalamu alaikum. Askani adina, askani Gambia, askani diaspora. Xam nga bu ma nee askani Gambia adina sax wax naa yëpp ba pare nan lañ rek leen doon toogal hankañ ñor na waaw the plus xam ngeen ne yéegi ngeen a dégg the plus in skincare plus is already here finally egsi na hankañ suñ plus bi egsi na moo nekk ni ñu ngi lañ ko amal fii ci diggi Manjai highway Manjai Kotu highway fa lañ ibbi di plus mooy lan mooy the extras in skincare plus suñ cuuraa gerte yi suñ araw yi suñ mbaxal yi suñ jën yi suñ suulaale yi suñ nokkas yi hankañ indil lañ leen ko fii ci diggi Manjai ne ko fii comme ni ma ko day waxee rek ne ko fii Fara Chacha